tuned in. Franky Rose's Crime Updates. Crime Updates. You are now tuned in. Franky Rose's Crime Updates. Crime Updates.
Let's switch to suspense. Let's switch to suspense.
You are now tuned in. Franky Rose's Crime Updates. Crime Updates. Crime Updates. You are now tuned in. Franky Rose's Crime Updates. Crime Updates.
Hey guys, it's Franky. Welcome to Crime Updates. We've got Mexi with me tonight.
Hey guys. Hello.
Hello. So, hey Dandy and hello Shauna. I'm glad you guys found us.
So do you mind if I exit for a second and then I'm going to come back?
Okay.
Is that okay? I'm going to leave for 1 second. I'm going to come right back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, are you guys familiar with this case at all? It was, it's hard to believe I think it's been about 15 years now, which is really, really hard to believe. It just seems like yesterday. And it was mortifying when we found out what happened to this kid. He'd been working up in northern Alberta, and he was a carny, and he decided he was going to take some time off and was taking the Greyhound bus from Edmonton to Winnipeg. So Edmonton, Alberta, Winnipeg, Manitoba. And he was doing good. He was used to traveling. He liked to travel on the Greyhound. So he was a happy camper. I guess he was sleeping. He had his earplugs in. And at one of the stops, this guy gets on. He's a great big guy, about 6 foot, if not a little bit bigger, 200 pounds. And the bus is pretty full. So he comes over and he sits beside a kid named Tim. And oh, there you are, Mexi.
Hi.
So he came back, or he sat beside Tim Mclean, who's 22 years old, and everything seemed to be fine on this trip until Vince lost his crap, pulled out a knife, and attacked Tim in the most brutal way possible. There's a little bit of problems because of, as there always is, he went to court with this and he pled guilty reason of insanity. So I have to double check, but I think this was something like 2008. Well, he got his plea. And he ended up in one of the institutions. I can't remember which one right now. And within no time, they deemed him healthy and fine, saying that, he's trustworthy. He can take his medications. He will take his medications. He was mortified by what he did. And they started slowly integrating him back into the population. And within no time, he was not needing any kind of supervision. So now, and he has been for years, he's out on his own walking the streets. He does not have to report to anybody. He is as free as you and I are. So, it's sad. And, it leaves you wondering, how do families deal with cases like this? Bad enough that this happened, but then the guy is out. So a lot of scared people for the longest time, and probably still. I know that they changed his name and he was out there using this alias. But for many years now, his name has been out in the public. I guess I'll kind of learn along with you guys as to which province he's in. But so far, as far as I have been able to find, there's been nothing else with him. I don't know how comfortable I am with them taking that kind of risk with people. What do you think, Mexi? What do you think about doing something as severe as what happened here?
Of him. Stephen.
Hello, Shauna.
Oh my God, we are.
Hi, Ruby.
Hi. No, I don't approve anybody freaking slaughtering a whole bus and like beheading people. That's not ever something that I.
Well, he didn't attack anybody, but
I know that. Yeah, I know. It was just
yeah.
so.
But yeah, I don't quite understand how Canada deals with some things. We don't have the death penalty and haven't for like before I was born, as far as I know. So a life sentence in Canada is 25 years. We were talking about Europe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, theirs is 30, right?
So it's something very similar. Like I remember hearing about a case a while back about a cop who got dragged on the back of a car by these 3 teenagers, and they gave him life, and they only got like 25 years.
Oh my God.
Like, and I don't think that's fair per se, because at 18, 17, you're an adult. Like,
oh, this is it. This is it. Yeah, we get quite a bit of this insanity plea and then them being released shortly after. It's never made any sense to me because these people, they're not being monitored with their medications. And as soon as someone goes, oh my God, I'm too tired because of these, or I've put on too much weight because of these, or whatever the case may be, and they just stopped and not tell people. And that's when you run into your problems. And it happens. I mean, I'm sure we've all heard of cases where, I mean,
apparently that shooter recently, the school shooter at that Christian church, was supposed to be on some sort of
meds that he wasn't, or
yeah.
You see, and I mean, I even know in my own world, people that have taken, maybe anxietants, different things like that.
Yeah.
And they're doing really, really well. And then all of a sudden they decide they don't want them in the crater again. I have to take medication for my fibro, and I've put on weight, and it's probably one of my biggest pet peeves, but it's not really.
I just don't know what the solution would be to that. Like for people who are on this kind of like antipsychotic medication, like what is the solution exactly? Like, should they have a nurse with them 24/7? Like, should they be on some sort of like registry, which isn't legal because that goes against like all HIPAA violations? How do you begin to even try to make sure and monitor that these people are actually taking their...
Well, this is it. This is it. I mean, maybe they should have to have P tests. Random P tests.
I mean, that would insinuate that they did something wrong. Like, like...
They did, though.
But no, like, if you haven't, right? If you haven't ever done anything wrong up until the point that you did something wrong, right? having you take random P tests is not really.
They make you do it for a job.
No, but yes, they do. But I mean,
Right?
for obvious reasons, for insurance purposes, not.
Oh.
But when it comes to
Mhm.
making sure that a person is taking their medication,
Yeah.
how do you do that? How do you, especially when
Jazzy
they're
done
an
do
adult,
it.
like. Someone someone working on my roof? Does anyone here else like hear that banging?
No. And you're right, Dandy. They need to be. We've got a couple big ones that are here. Well, I mean, probably every province has got their big main spot. And if you have to do it to be able to work, I think you should have to be able to do it so you don't kill people.
Yeah. Well, like with that, like with
Oh.
making sure people take their antipsychotic medication or whatnot,
Yeah,
like you're getting into like people's rights at that point. And
you are, but they're getting into our rights when they want to p-test a person for marijuana and you don't get a job, and marijuana is legal.
well, yeah, but you also want to have that job.
Well, you do, but we don't want
Yeah,
them to
like certain
kill people.
jobs.
I bet it's a good debate to have, actually.
Yes, because around here, like I do know, like marijuana, it's legal here now as well, but
Good job.
I still wouldn't trust somebody that's high as shit, like driving a heavy vehicle at a construction site. Like if you're high as shit, you're like,
Most people,
no.
you know what? And that's the thing. Most of them are. I don't know too many that are construction, oil field, gas, that they don't smoke pot.
Like I don't want to get
And the only time that they're willing to risk it, I guess, because they do it.
And that's
But
the thing. I think me and Shauna were talking about that the other day, like where my dad was like, "It's not you, baby, it's everyone else." I don't everyone else.
Taking this off. It hurt. Yeah, I agree. It is everybody else. So my son, myself, almost assaulted during lunch at school yesterday over a straw with an older child. Whoa. Oh, Dandy, that's horrible. And yeah, I agree. The system is flawed. So do you want to take a look at one of these videos?
Yeah.
Pretty short, just to kind of give us an idea. I want to pick one. Okay. I can't believe I did that video yesterday and the volume didn't come through on it.
You know how busy I've been at work, but like Discord always chimes for me. So like someone even posts something, I'm like, what? And I go look to see where it's at, and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Dandy had gotten a hold of me.
Yes.
You had messaged me, and I was like, oh my God, no. Unreal, because it was fine on like the beginning area where I had tested. And I don't know if I downloaded something differently. I don't think I did, but yeah, it was like, here you go, read it, guys.
Just go ahead and read it. Just go ahead and pause. Read.
So this bus, this happened on Highway 1, and Highway 1 is the highway that goes from one side of Canada to the other. Just to give some.
Known as Will Baker decapitated Tim Mclean on a Greyhound bus in 2008. So many Canadians were shocked when Lee was given an unconditional discharge on Friday. It comes almost a decade after he was found not criminally responsible for the murder, the court concluding he was experiencing a schizophrenic episode. Now, with the discharge, Lee is a free man, subject to no conditions.
We firmly believe that recovery within the community is possible. So, Mr. Lee has been very compliant, from what I understand, with all of his treatment. So hopefully, with the proper supports, he'll be able to successfully reintegrate.
What won Lee his freedom is that experts concluded he does not pose a significant threat to public safety.
If you were looking for a perfect record, this is a perfect record.
Heads off.
Showing remorse, showing compliance, showing insight, not having relapsed.
Still, giving Lee a full discharge has sent shockwaves across social media. Anger, but also fear. People wondering what will happen now that Lee is responsible for managing his medication and mental illness.
What happened was a horrific event, and people are naturally going to be afraid of this.
According to experts, 3%
He
of
chopped
all
somebody's
cases
head off.
admitted people with mental illness, and only 1% of all accused are found not criminally responsible. In this case, there will be safeguards.
If it really came down to a problem where he stopped being compliant, then there are methods that he can actually be forced back into treatment. It's called a community treatment order. So, he will be staying in touch with people, and those that have been working with him will want to be keeping in touch with him as well to make sure that he's, keeping up with his treatment.
While there are no guarantees, those who have worked with Lee say he is motivated to continue taking his meds. The protection being offered to society, his commitment not to hurt anyone else. Making
Oh, what a good commitment to make. What about that? I promise you I will never murder anyone else in my life. I promise you. I'll never do it. I won't do it. Frankie, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
No.
Yes.
Unreal. I have to hit 2 of them to.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. Damn mute buttons, anyways.
I can't even. I don't know. That video made me kind of really not angry, but
What makes one angry?
I'm at a loss for words because that was stupid.
Oh, it is. It really, really is. When it comes to these crimes, like Canada, in my opinion, is pretty wussy. I don't know. I guess maybe I'm a little bit jaded, but I like the way Texas does things.
I'm just so confused. Like, if we already have a hard time, like, and I know Canada, America is different, but like, I'm gonna use like DCFS, for example, like the people that are supposed to take care of the kids who don't have a place to go.
Yeah.
They're failing. So you're telling me that you're willing to just follow an adult around, make sure he's taking his medication, and there's like these groups that he can go to that make sure that he's taking, like, what?
Exactly. Oh, exactly.
Do you know how you make sure he takes his medication? You leave him in an institution that gives him the medication.
See, and this is the thing. Again, are we getting back into a person's rights?
He murdered someone. Whether
That's
he was
what
in a psychotic mental state, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
He murdered someone in the most brutal way. I don't care what you say. If you say that you're like innocent because you're crazy, then you should be in an institution for the rest of your life.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And well, I mean, look at what they're doing in the Michael Vaughn case, right? She is in the institution, and as soon as they've got her stable, she goes to court. I don't see a problem with that. You know,
I don't see a problem with that. But like, I also feel that if you're going to plead guilty for reason of insanity, then you should spend the rest of your life in an institution.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough.
That's how I feel. Like you obviously, you pled guilty because you obviously know that you did something wrong, whether you were in a psychotic break or not. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
But you did something wrong in the most brutal way.
Brutal way.
You saying, I swear I'm off of that. I'm never going to do that again. I don't believe you.
So hypothetically, I don't know the answer to this. So I'm just curious. What do you think if he was undiagnosed? He had no idea what the hell was going on. And he just automatically thought, oh my God, there's an alien sitting next to me. And then you got God in your head, in his mind, going, yeah, get rid of that alien. Get rid of that alien.
He would still need to go through a psych evaluation when he's arrested and goes to court. So
no, I'm saying like originally, before this like he gets on that bus.
The same. Like I have no sympathy for that. Like whatever it is that you were thinking at the time.
Yeah.
I'm not. No, I'm sorry. Like,
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's my thoughts.
That's crazy. Like, I'm sorry. Like, you really thought that that was an alien sitting in front of you, and
I think he did.
This is the thing. And that's what he says. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And I don't doubt that that's what he thought. Like, because I can't prove it. I can't deny it. I don't doubt that that's what he thought. But that's still not right.
Oh, absolutely.
It's still not right. And that's crazy. That's crazy. Like
one town in Alberta, a girl I used to go to school with, her cousin used to come all the time over to the house. Her and I were best friends when we were kids. So life goes on. And one day she is a home nurse. Is that what they're called? Where you go in, you stay with the person for the day and then switch off. So, okay. Well, she went, and there had been a lot of people. This is a big native guy. And he was kind of freaking out some of the women that kind of had been watching him. Well, Val went into work, and the next morning when it was shift change, the girl couldn't find Val. There was no Val. Well, she was unalive and behind the couch. He had had some kind of break in the middle of the night, lost his brain, and unalived her. So, of course, small town. Well, I mean, maybe 20,000 or so.
Yeah.
This guy goes and gets stable, and he's out. Not only did they let this guy out, but this happened again with a different patient and a different nurse in the same area.
Yes.
So yeah, it's like,
That's something like if that's how you feel and that's what you think, if that's already what you're thinking, you're like, even if medicated or not, if your thought is that the person that's standing next to you is an alien and God is in your head telling you to kill them, there's something seriously wrong.
For sure.
And regardless of what it is, you should still be institutionalized. Yeah. Whether that be in a prison or an actual medical facility, that's not up to me, but you should be monitored in one way or another. You can't let to be roam free and do these things again. Like,
yeah, exactly. Exactly. It doesn't just happen overnight. It's a progression to the state of mind. You don't just wake up snappy. It takes a while to get there and to be treated. Fair enough. I've known a couple schizophrenics, and literally one changed almost overnight.
That's how my experience with the schizophrenic was.
Is that right, eh? Yeah. And you were dealing with somebody totally rational a couple of days ago. And then all of a sudden, this guy thinks everybody's trying to kill him. And everybody, you know, now that extremely paranoid and to an extremely unreasonable degree. Like you knew that there was something.
Yeah, I can completely understand. And
yeah. So, I mean, I guess
on both sides on that.
So this is what, this is Tim Mclean's mother. And this is about 10 years after he was unalived on the bus.
Vince Lee, the man who was found not criminally responsible for the killing of Tim Mclean aboard a Greyhound bus back in 2008, has now been granted an absolute discharge. The latest development, another hard blow for Mclean's family, still trying to cope with the tragedy. Tim Mclean's mother is Carol Dedeli, and she joins me now via phone. Carol, good morning. I appreciate your time with us. And first off, can I just get your reaction to Vince Lee being granted his freedom?
I literally felt sick to my stomach. I'm very concerned for the safety of the public because there is no legal requirement currently in Canada for this extremely mentally ill individual to treat his illness.
Well, Lee, who now goes by the name of Will Baker, was found not criminally responsible. As we mentioned,
What do you think of that? They just totally gave out the name that the government named him for protective, like to protect him. I don't know if it's like witness protection, but along those lines. And I've been finding these programs that are totally saying this guy's name. What do you think of that?
Of them saying his name?
Yeah, the new name, not the would it be called an alias? The name that the government gave him so he wouldn't be harmed.
Mm-hmm.
Like he did a name change.
Mm-hmm.
And all of these news stations are telling everyone what that name is.
It's a news station.
Yeah.
They do what they want, and if they find it out, they're gonna say it. Like they're not under any obligation to not keep it secret.
he has his freedom now. So do you feel as if there's been justice done when it comes to your son?
No, I don't. I don't believe that justice has been done at all. Schizophrenia is a lifelong and incurable illness. The psychiatric community states that they cannot predict the future behavior of any individual. Why are they predicting that he's going to take his medicine then?
Is that the biggest fear as far as you're concerned moving forward?
Absolutely. If he has received an absolute discharge, which means there's no criminal record, there is going to be nothing on the books saying that he killed my son. He can cross borders. That's diagnosis will not follow him.
By the way,
he'll have every freedom that you have. The same community that says they can't predict the future behavior of any individual also states that the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, and we know what he's capable of. I believe it's time for all people to take care of each other, and I don't think this is the way to do it.
What needs to be done here then, Carol, as far as you're concerned? I know there's been talk that the doctors who signed off on Mr. Lee's release, do you believe that they should be held responsible if indeed he reoffends?
That will never happen. The system
they
is
should.
never responsible. And in this instance...
What's that?
Like, I mean, that would be one way to make sure that someone... If you're going to discharge him like that, release him to someone's custody and make the person who's in the custody responsible for them. So they need to check in all the time. They need to make sure that they're doing the shit. And if you're found that you're not, guess what? Both of y'all are gone.
Well, and you know, there is a case in the US. I can't remember the fellow's name, but he had done something kind of messed up as well. And I know that they chased this guy down, like every time they news would see him or the mother, they would have mics in their faces, reporters all over. The same kind of idea. I can't remember this guy, but I think he had something to do with the R word. Right? Governing powers could be accountable for their decisions. I agree. And future actions of these psychos. 100%. 100%. Somebody has to be held accountable. Like, what are they going to do if this guy does something again? There's no guarantees. He's been okay the last however long since he's been out, as far as I know, but no guarantees about tomorrow.
Yeah. Don't put that guy on a bus
Nobody
again.
is responsible. As soon as they start talking about NCR, if you ever find yourself in this circumstance, I would suggest saying, no, you're not going to agree to any statement of facts. Make it through a trial. Make them have to prove that this person is unfit, is mentally ill. Don't just
There's been a lot.
statement of facts.
There's been a lot of talk over the last couple of days that this is another example of putting criminals' rights ahead of victims' rights. Is that the way you obviously feel?
Oh, definitely.
Hold on,
There's no
pause.
question of that.
Pause. What did this lady just say, that they are wanting her to prove that he's mentally ill?
I think that's the way I understood it.
But he already
definitely.
said he was
There's no
mentally
question of
ill when
that.
he killed that
There's no
person.
question.
That's why he got what he got. Right?
Right. But then I guess they're saying that I don't know if you call it cured,
my
but he's
God.
able to control it. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Of that. In a nutshell, I don't believe that the choice to treat his illness or not to treat his illness should be his decision to make anymore. At the very least, while he's living amongst us, because he already is, at the very least, he should be continued to be monitored for the rest of his days. His illness is lifelong illness. It's an incurable illness. He's not healed. He's not all better. That can't happen for a schizophrenic.
All right, Carol Dedeli, I really appreciate the time, and I wish you the best over the coming days and weeks. Thanks for.
Well, and that is the thing. There is no cure.
That's so frustrating. That is super frustrating. Just keep him keep him in an institution at that point. Like,
Well, yeah.
that's what you should do. He said that he did it, right? He said that he was pretty much guilty.
Oh, yeah.
Doing that. He admitted that he did it because he was crazy. Okay, if you're crazy, then you can spend the rest of your life behind an institution.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That's freaking insane that they're trying to make her prove that he is crazy. No, he's already said he was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So they're saying it isn't his medication that's keeping him in line, it's his guilt. Well, I don't know about that. In 2017, he was expected to live in Winnipeg for the next 2 to 3 years and was on a waiting list for a post-secondary training program and plans to establish a career in that city. Well, better that city than my city.
Fuck your career. What is this guy supposed to do out in the world? What is he supposed to do?
Mm-hmm. Well,
I'm all about giving people second chances and shit, but like what this dude did was crazy.
Well, hell yeah. But easy for him to get a job because he has no record.
Exactly. That is
yeah. And if he goes and gets a post-secondary, then
that is unreal. I mean, that should be something you should put down and be like, hey, like, is there anything you want to talk about? Like with your past employment? Well, I did kill somebody one day.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Oops.
Can I still be hired? Yeah, you can work here fucking 12 hours. It's fine.
Yeah.
9 to 5. No. Like, I don't want to work with someone like that. Like,
yeah, right?
So we just snaps? No, thank you. No. I'm fine. Yeah.
Greyhound is a scary trip, even without the cannibalism and pokey stuff. I don't imagine that word is makes YouTube happy. They're finicky.
About lobotomies?
No, the one I said, the eating meat, eating the red meat. Yuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a carnivore. That's fine.
Right. Greyhound used to be awesome. I took it from, well, it was a 4-day trip. I took it from Western Canada to like the far end of Ontario. And I just thought it was great then. But I would not put my kid, my dog, my hamster on a Greyhound bus ever, ever. It's just the world has changed.
My first experience with a Greyhound bus was me being kicked off a train, the Amtrak train in San Antonio. No, before San Antonio, because they were like, I'm sorry, we can't make it to San Antonio. And they kicked us off and put us on a Greyhound to San Antonio. Unfortunately, Greyhound doesn't travel all the way down to the valley.
So what'd you have to do? Do you have to stick out your thumb?
Yeah, we got a ride. It's cool.
Yeah.
People love us. They loved us. Like, we had family everywhere. So they picked us up on the side of the road.
Nice. Yeah. When I was a kid, I probably shouldn't have, but I hitchhiked.
That's dangerous.
It totally is. And even back then, I imagine it was a little bit sketchy, but I did it. Not
I did it.
Right?
You in that like first part in Cheech and Chong in the background? Those girls getting kidnapped.
Which one?
The girls.
Oh, yeah.
Getting kidnapped in the white van behind. Yeah, that's not.
I used to love them.
Cheech and Chong.
Cheech and Chong. I haven't watched them forever. So this is his mom again.
I remember when this very first happened, and for weeks and weeks, I was just mad, and I was mad, and I didn't really know exactly what I was mad about. And I was mad that the world just kept going on like nothing happened. Nothing changed for everybody else. The traffic still went, the sun still shone. And it was so maddening to me that the whole world didn't just stop. Mine did. It stopped, and it took a long time to really want to get up every day. I was given a few reasons to feel that way, to want to get up. 10 of them in total now, and they all call me Granny. I have as much fun with them as I can, as often as I can.
So
it's tough.
Close that. So
I remember when this very first happened, and for weeks and weeks, I was just.
So 7 months after Tim died, his girlfriend had a little baby boy.
Oh. No.
Well, it kept Grandma going, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so there we are. That's his son now.
I love seeing Grandma's face. Like, she's so happy.
Just glowing.
It's precious.
So she has custody of him.
Oh.
Yeah. There we are. And that's the dad, Tim Mclean Sr.
I think people forget a lot of times when we like true crime stuff, like
he was always
they're suffering, like
they
hurt every day, regardless of how many years it's been. Like,
yeah, no, you would never recover.
Yeah.
ever, ever, ever. I mean, oh,
She agrees. She's like, "You're right, Mom."
Yeah, Mom, what you said. Yeah, a baby.
Happy. He was always busy, go, go, go. There was no holding him back from anything. He wasn't afraid to try anything. Yeah, he wasn't too happy about having to go to school, but he still went. But
For a while.
For a while. But besides that, he was always going. He had so many friends. He was always the life of the party everywhere he went. That's how we'll always remember him. That was the majority of his time. He was always happy. He was never mad. He was never sad. He always did what he wanted to do. Lived his life the way he wanted to.
I've seen different things on him where the best sense of humor.
Best sense of humor.
To me, Vincent Lee is not a monster. He's just someone that unfortunately went through undiagnosed mental illness.
Jazz.
But yet, it's hard to go through it. Go through the mental illness and have to be stuck with it for the rest of your life. But yet, I'm sorry he has mental illness, but I also have suffered tremendously and being constantly reminded how much I missed out in life.
You've forgiven him from the sounds of things.
In some sense, yes, I've forgiven him. But yeah, I've been able to normalize that he is a person with mental illness. It doesn't give him a free pass, but it gets a little better understanding of what's going on.
Yeah, it does not give him a free pass.
That's like a tough thing to like swallow, because maybe she's saying that like in a way to like make her feel better, because she was a victim of that, you know.
Yeah, it did a lot of damage. A lot of damage.
That's actually a really good thing, like, to discuss. I mean, mental illness and being guilty of knowing what it is that you're doing.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Most times, people want to claim it's like a psychotic break.
Right.
I've seen a lot of stories like that, a lot of interviews like that. Where like, I have no idea what happened. Like, I know what I did was wrong, but like, I have no idea what I did.
If you have questions,
No idea.
Right.
That's still wrong. Like, you're still admitting that you did something wrong, and like,
yeah. Well, I don't know about the US, but I think Canada, you have to know. Yeah. You have to know at the time the difference between right and wrong. And if you do at that time of whatever it is done, do know at that time the difference between right and wrong, then yeah, you're done. Like you can't. You can't not know and get away with this, right?
Right.
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
Yes. Like, because when they're interviewing you later, once maybe you've been on like some treatment, you're back on meds or whatever, and they're like, hey, you know, you did that? And they're like, yeah, I remember I did that. I didn't know what I was doing at the time.
Right.
What, I don't know what they say. Like,
this guy was like, I wanted to get that alien. Like, that's what he was seeing. He wasn't seeing some young kid leaning against.
And I can sympathize.
Sleeping.
I can sympathize with that, but that's crazy. That's, I mean, and okay, maybe I shouldn't say that, but that's not what he was seeing, right? Because
Right.
asked everybody else on the bus, and everybody else on the bus was like, no, that's that guy. The guy
Right.
that family is grieving for him because you
Yeah.
killed him. Like, he's a real person.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, for these people who do have these breaks, can you imagine realizing what you did?
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine just
Yes, because
like
I feel like that's exactly what
happened.
happens to a lot of these people. Is
Absolutely.
they have a psychotic break, and once they're back on like medication, or maybe they've had some time to decompress, or I don't know. Again, I do not know. I'm not a professional. I
Right.
have no idea what stages
Yeah.
we go through. But
Speculation.
yes, all speculation.
Mhm.
But like at the end, they end up saying like, yeah,
Mhm.
I do remember doing that. Like, I don't know why I did it. I can tell you what I was thinking. This is what I was thinking at the time. This is what I thought.
Mhm.
This is how I felt.
Right. Yeah.
But
And
they're
for
still
him, it
saying that
was
they
just
know
like,
that they killed someone.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Wasn't an alien like they expected. It
Yeah.
was like a human.
Actual human being.
Where Canada's
Yeah,
oil sands industry
absolutely.
stands on
I'm
climate
gonna.
change, you're not alone. It's time to clear the air. Oil sands contribute significant carbon emissions in Canada. So the 6 largest companies have joined
So,
forces on
I
carbon
don't
capture
even
technology that will
understand
reduce
why I
emissions
get
by millions
commercials.
of tons annually.
I know
It's
why
a
I'm
key
getting
step in
commercials.
helping Canada meet its net zero climate goal. Come see what we're doing at pathwaysalliance.ca.
This is where Greyhound bus 1170 came to a sudden stop 10 years ago. A man then known as Vince Lee was attacking his seatmate, Timothy Mclean, stabbing, decapitating, cannibalizing. It took 5 hours for police to arrest him. This woman was on the bus. She still can't get the sound of screaming out of her head.
I thought it was just one of those scary movies.
We can't identify her or her daughter under child welfare laws. 2.5 years ago, social workers apprehended her baby. They said her PTSD made her an unfit mother.
I'm constantly waking up depressed.
I have problems with that.
Yeah,
She
that's the
lost
same
it.
woman that was speaking in the last
Yeah,
one where she said she
it is.
can't like get over it. This like other people were affected on this bus.
Absolutely. And you lose your kids because of that. Oh my God.
Imagine how her kids doing, seeing and hearing that. Like,
Yeah. Well, we'll listen a little bit further, but I think that they did come up with a game plan.
And not getting the proper help. Cook your food.
The little girl lived in a foster home until a year ago when the court granted her grandmother guardianship and gave her mother access.
She is a
I'm sorry, can we rewind that? Like, oh, or is that just like a play?
What's that? What's that, Mixie?
I thought that whatever they were making on the stove was real. Like, I was like, what are they feeding them?
Yeah, nothing, not a good recipe. Not one passed down.
Oh my God, what is that? Oh my God. Okay, carry on. I'm sorry.
She mesmerizes everybody that comes in contact with her by her little voice and everything. She's loved by everybody.
Carol did a big hole in her life, but now she also sees some hope.
And it took a long time to really want to get up every day. I was given a few reasons to feel that way, to want to get up.
One of those reasons,
I just love that picture.
grandson. 5 months after Timothy Mclean's death, his son was born.
I was in shock and then scared and then excited and then really worried.
The mother was young, struggling to care for 2 other children by a different father. In 2016, a judge gave Dedeli permanent guardianship.
He is a gift from God sent by my son to give me a reason to get up every day and to take care of. And I'm doing that to the best of my ability.
She's still concerned about the family dynamics, so for now, doesn't want the boy's mother or her ex-husband visiting him unsupervised.
Have any recent pictures of him, but for now these will have to do.
It means these pictures are all Tim Mclean Sr. has of his son and his grandson.
Like his father, that's what we're left with, his memories.
Still struggling to cope with the loss, he visits his son's gravesite every week.
I sit and I talk with him. I tell him everything. I just joke around about my day and how much we miss him and how sad it makes me.
Shortly after the attack, Mclean Sr. launched a lawsuit against Greyhound. 10 years later, it's at an impasse.
We don't believe the settlement that they offered for our grandson is at all reasonable.
But for today, both parents want the focus to be on their son.
He was just vibrant energy, and I so miss that in my world.
He always lived his life the way he wanted to. We're trying to move on, but it's very hard. And I don't think we'll ever be over it.
What's clear in the decade since the attack is that Timothy Mclean wasn't the only victim. Many lives were torn apart. Karen Pauls, CBC News, near Portage la Prairie, Manitoba.
The shadow of his own violent acts. Barely 7 months after he killed Timothy Mclean, a judge ruled that he was not criminally responsible.
The correct conclusion was reached. Mr. Lee is a schizophrenic. Mr. Lee had a severe mental disease.
He still did it. Whether he was in his right frame of mind or not, he still did the act. There was nobody else on that bus holding a knife.
Lee remained in a mental facility in Selkirk, but in 2012, he was allowed to go out if he was accompanied. By 2014, that was no longer required, and by 2015, he could visit and apply to live in a group home. Last year, he was granted an absolute discharge by the Manitoba Criminal Code Review Board. He no longer requires supervision, and he goes by a new name, Will Baker.
What's that?
That's not right. That's not freaking right. That's not right.
Right?
That's not right.
No, I know. Let me see here. Did we? No, it's blows my mind when you see what a person does and the fact that, well, there's nobody held accountable. Nobody.
Well, guess what? I just thought of something. Just hear me out for a second.
I'm listening.
Hear me out for a second. Technically, he himself could be held responsible because the time he turned 18, if it was already known that he had schizophrenia and he was not taking his medication, him not taking his medication is knowingly endangering.
Did they just say that he knew at that time?
They were saying, yeah, that's what they said, right? It's not. Did I misunderstand that?
Maybe I misunderstood.
Oh,
no, you're probably.
Oh, wait. I thought they knew that he had schizophrenia. Like,
right.
Okay. Right, because he was seeing aliens and God was in his head, and
right.
He was off his medication. That's what. Like,
is that what they said? Is he was off his medication?
Like, I'm trying to think, like, if they're saying from what that person just said on that last like interview,
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's his lawyer who's like, oh, the right decision was made. Like, he's a person with schizophrenia. He didn't know what he was doing. Well, if they already knew prior to that, he could be held
Well,
responsible
then you
for his own actions because you stopped taking the medication that they told you needed to
Yeah.
take on a daily basis. Like,
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense.
yeah.
This is not working for me. Oh my word.
Male Loki's like curled up on his side.
Let's see
You're
here.
okay,
Let's see if
you
we
know.
hear anything else on this one.
This is where Greyhound bus 1170 came to a sudden stop 10 years ago. A man then known as Vince Lee was attacking his seatmate, Timothy Mclean, stabbing, decapitating, cannibalizing. It took 5 hours for police to arrest him. This woman was on the bus. She still can't get the sound of screaming.
Scary movies.
We can't identify. 2.5 years ago, the little girl.
Boy.
Carol Dedeli says her son's death left a big.
We've
to
seen this.
give me a reason to get up every day and to take care of. And
Okay. Yeah, we've seen that one. Am I mute? No.
No, you're not mute.
I thought I was mute. Did I mute me? So.
Yeah, I don't know, Sandy.
Let's see here.
Me and my father have had this conversation. It involved the mental health crisis, because it's all involved, and how to solve the world's problems. And we didn't talk for a month.
Yeah. Well, like politics, some things are sensitive, right?
Yeah, very.
Yeah. I think he is still a threat, Shauna. I can't see how they can say he's not.
He's absolutely a threat.
Yeah. I don't get the laws that protect and house the loonies, and it's not getting any better. It's not. And this is the thing.
It's because people don't give a shit.
No, nope. Just
It's
slough
a
it off
people
and
problem. Like, that's honest. Like, that's an honest thing. Like, that's what I actually think is the problem to the whole world. Like, what's the solution? People. That's the solution. Let's just
right? Yeah. 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 Serious criminals get set free while MJs get life and life. Isn't that the truth? Oh my God. Yeah, that's another debate.
That would be
All
one
right.
way to like actually save money, is releasing the guys who got life or prison for having pounds of Mary Jane in their car.
Well, don't they do that in the US?
No.
Oh, okay.
Like,
yeah, they've let a lot of ours out.
I don't know.
Like
I
you,
don't think I do.
yeah. Yeah. Oh my word. Oh,
I don't think this guy should be out. It's
exactly, Dandy. How do we solve mental health crisis when no one cares about emotional wellness, empathy, or loving thy neighbor? Very well said. Very well said.
The people problem.
Even in our, we take a look at anything, actually, when it comes to having compassion, the world's losing it. Whether it's for seniors, whether it's for people that are sick, whether it's for people that are abused, all these different things. Everybody's getting failed. And this, a lot of times, can be the reason why. Untreated medical issues, or instead of helping.
Sorry. You know what else happened during that time? Like me, myself.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a good time, you know?
Pardon me?
I feel like I'm a good time. Like if I went out and just, you know, talk to people, spread the love, even though I don't really talk to people, but
yeah,
that's kind of how you start making a difference. But as a person, you also know that people can be evil, and you don't even want to surround yourself like that. So you stay home.
Yep. Yep.
It's
I like my
a
house.
double-edged sword there. Like I want to spread the love and just go out and like being great, but
the older I've gotten, the more jaded I've gotten.
Yeah.
You know, and sadly, it's life that has done it. You know, it's not any one person's fault. It's like a calamity of other people's errors that we end up paying for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like someone else's bad time. Like, why? Don't make me involved, please.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I still and probably forever will now be a person. My dog is gonna bark. Jazzy. I'm jaded now. It's just the way it is. I can't give in real life. Very few people have got my trust. And it's taken years and years and years and years. Every time I would let somebody else in, something else would happen. So I'm like, okay, I like my pets.
Right. I like my space. I like my pets. Like this is who I trust.
Yeah.
Who I have to blame if anything happens. But going out into the world, you have to worry about everybody else's personality, everybody else's
Absolutely.
feelings, and it's
Absolutely.
like I don't want to do that.
No. And I'm the same. Like I'm the same. I'm as kind as I possibly can be to people
Yeah.
when I'm out and about. I just don't let them very close. You know, like I'll get to a certain point and that's all people will ever know about me.
Yep.
Yeah. Events that happen make or break. Yeah, it's tough. It really is, Shauna. It really is. There's no preparing ourselves for a lot of this stuff. So it's take it and put ourselves back
Because
together
why
the
at
best
the same
we
time,
can.
like why should you? Like why should you have to prepare yourself for shit like that?
Yes,
You shouldn't have to. You should be able to like go out and like do what you want to, go to a concert, go to a movie.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
drop your kids off at school and expect that they're gonna come back and like
Well,
you should
you
just
know,
be able to do these things comfortably. This isn't
it's true, but it's sadly not the way things are. But I mean, it's the truth. Too many people do too many bad things now. I
Yeah.
mean, when I was growing up, I think I've said this before, and it was fists that people would
Yeah.
argue with. They would go out and meet you in the parking lot, and they would duke it out, you know, and then, you know, they shake each other's hands and then go for a hamburger. Well, now, and
Yeah, now you
now,
gotta
I
worry
mean,
about everything else they might be bringing to the table.
Oh, exactly. And
Which
not everybody reacts as strongly as Vincent did. Not everybody has this kind of break, but it's still bad,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And then the lack of help when it comes to mental illnesses, regardless of the degree. I mean, he is actually a good example. They just gave the guy did what he did. They gave him meds and kicked him out. So that is not.
I do think that mental health was very much of a back burner growing up because
Yes.
my parents did not believe that there was such a thing as depression or, you know,
Absolutely.
they just didn't believe that. They're like, no, you're just being lazy. Like, get up, go outside, do something.
Exactly.
Like, and
Yeah.
that's what I know. So that's the only thing I can speak on, right? That's
Yeah.
how. But today, now, I will say this: I do have a prescription for. Are they? I mean, antipsychotics, I guess I would call them. Like, but it's my brain just does not shut off.
Right. And that is, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what, friend? That is so common. Guys, girls. I mean, I was like that for years, but I've got my PTSD dreams are what kept me going. And then, of course, I've always called it the brain train. But the brain train, because it just it runs and you can't stop it, and then it switches lanes, and it's like
this is all like all the feelings I've ever had, all the different like emotions, whatnot. I've always recognized them, and like I know, like I'm like that's in my head. Like I can't. So I in some way I did kind of control it. I try not to like exert like my frustration or emotions on other people around me.
Well, you know,
although it's really hard.
Well, and sometimes, I mean, it's not something that's meant, you know, happening mentally. It could be something like hormones.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like you have like this chemical imbalance. And that's a real thing. That's a natural thing. Hormones, it's a chemical imbalance. So you're just like,
hey,
I'm just feeling this way because of this. And
my body does not produce serotonin. So I can be a monster, but I take what my body doesn't produce. So I can be even keeled like everybody else, because without added serotonin, I'm a freak.
I can be a little bit of a demon. I'm not, but I don't go around killing people or, you know, chopping off their heads. So there's a difference in
maybe the wrong guy hasn't pissed you off enough yet.
To be honest, I don't think, because there has been. I don't think that's just not something that I'm capable of doing. Like I just can't do that.
No.
But trying to relate to this guy here with this Greyhound psychotic thing, I can only relate in a certain way, and I still have like some sort of sense about me that I know that that's the way that I'm feeling is not appropriate.
Right.
So I still have a sense of control. I that's exactly pretty much what it is. I have a sense of control of what it is that's happening. So I try not to
right.
That.
Yeah. So some days it's like, no, it's not me, it's you.
A lot of times it's always the other person. It's not me.
Yeah, I'm pretty laid back. It's you. It's not me, it's you.
It's you. I try to get away. Like I literally go to a whole nother room. And you just sorry, it's you. It's not me. But
it's not me. Yeah, it's not me.
But I'm trying to look at this guy and how obviously like me, you, and a whole bunch of other people that might have some sort of psychiatric
like 95% of the population.
chemical imbalance in their brain can control themselves.
Yeah.
This guy went
Yeah.
ahead and like chopped somebody's head off.
Yeah. Yeah. And the guy literally thought he was sitting next to an alien.
You need to be institutionalized for.
I'd like to know if he ever ran into that before, even if he had have possibly.
I just don't even feel like. So, okay, just hear me out for a second. Is this, I'm just throwing this out there, just an idea. So, like, if let's just pretend like someone who's has no psychiatric history, doesn't say they're crazy, like they just went and killed 4 people. Broke into their house, killed them. And people are willing to give him the death sentence, right? Or life imprisonment for doing that. And he, like, they're like, oh, I'm not crazy. I just went and did it because.
Well, look at
you.
Isn't Austy Frosty in like the Who Scout?
Yeah.
Like, Austy Frosty did bad.
Austy Frosty did really bad. I'm glad you brought it up because that was somebody that I was like, this would be a good, also another person to talk about with this because what he did was like insane.
Absolutely. And that just basically came from nowhere again. But it's that age, right? It's like 18, 19, 20, when the schizophrenia starts to rear its head.
Yep. And that's
so he was 40 years old when he did this. So he was found not to be criminally responsible for the unaliving and was remanded to high security mental health facility. So the incident took place by Portage La Prairie, Manitoba during a trip from Edmonton to Mclean's hometown of Winnipeg. 12:01 a.m., July 30th, 2008, Tim Mclean, a carnival worker, was returning home to Manitoba after working at a fair in Alberta. He departed Edmonton on board Greyhound bus 1170 to Winnipeg via the Yellowhead Highway through Saskatchewan. He sat at the rear. I thought he went Highway 1. He went the Yellowhead. He sat at the rear, one row ahead of the washrooms. At 6:55 p.m., the bus departed from a stop in Erickson, Manitoba, with a new passenger, Vince Weiguang Lee. I don't know. Vince Lee. Lee described as a tall man in his 40s with a shaved head, sunglasses, originally sat near the front of the bus, but moved to sit next to Mclean following a scheduled rest stop. Mclean barely acknowledged Lee, then fell asleep against the window pane, headphones covering his ears. According to witnesses, Mclean was sleeping with his headphones on when the man sitting next to him suddenly produced a large pointy object and began attacking Mclean in the neck and chest. The attacker then did that and displayed this to the other passengers outside of the bus that had fled in horror. The driver and 2 other men attempted to rescue Mclean, but were chased away by Lee, who slashed wildly from behind the locked bus doors. Lee went back to the body and began taking the other body parts and consuming some of Mclean. At 8:30 p.m., the RCMP in Portage La Prairie, Manitoba, received a report of an incident on a Greyhound bus west of the city. They arrived to find the suspect still on board the bus, being prevented from escaping from another passenger. The bus driver and the truck driver, who had provided a crowbar and a hammer as weapons, the other passengers were huddled up at the roadside, some of them crying and vomiting. as the suspect had early attempted to escape by driving the bus away. The driver had engaged the emergency immobilizer system, rendering the vehicle inoperable. Witnesses had observed the subject stabbing and cutting and running around with, By 9 p.m., police were in a standoff with the suspect and had summoned special negotiators and heavily armed tactical unit. The subject taunted police, alternately, placing the length of the bus and cutting and defiling the remains. Police officers then observed Lee eating parts of that. Meanwhile, the stranded passengers were transported from the scene to be interviewed at the Brandon RCMP detachment. RCMP officers reportedly heard Lee say, "I have to stay on the bus forever." On July 31st, 2008 at 1:30 a.m., the suspect attempted to escape from the bus by breaking through a window. The RCMP arrested Lee soon after. He was tasered twice, handcuffed, and placed in the back of a police cruiser. Parts of the victim's remains were placed in plastic bags and retrieved from the bus, while the ear, nose, and tongue were found in Lee's pockets. Victim's eyes had been and heart were part of the delicacy. 10 a.m., Greyhound representatives took the other passengers to a local store to replace their clothes, which remained on the bus. They arrived at Winnipeg at 3:30 p.m. that day to be reunited with family and friends. So Garnet Caton, a 26-year-old seismic driller who sat one row ahead of Mclean, described hearing a blood-curdling scream saying, "I turned around and the guy sitting right behind me was standing up and another guy was being attacked with a Rambo knife right at the throat. I got sick after I saw the head thing. Some people were puking, some were crying, some people were shocked. The attacker just looked at us, dropped the head on the ground, and officers who were at the scene said the attacker also cut off parts of other things and ate them." So this is what he was up to. So his background: born in China, April 30th, 1968, graduated from the University of, Wuhan Institute of Technology. Isn't that where that ear disease came from?
Yeah, the COVID. The COVID.
Oh, that's not good. So Bachelor of Science in Computers from 1994. Oh my God. Jazzy. Hey. Okay. So let's see here. From 1994, worked in Beijing as a computer software engineer, immigrated to Canada from China on June 11th, 2001, becoming a Canadian citizen November 7th, 2006, worked in Winnipeg at menial jobs for 6 months to support his wife, Anna. He seemed happy to have a job and was committed to doing well despite the language barrier. I think he would occasionally feel frustrated with not being able to communicate or understand, but we have a very patient staff and seem to respond well. Also said that Lee did not show any signs of anger issues or trouble before he quit in 2005. Moved to Edmonton in 2006, leaving his wife alone in Winnipeg. Okay. Until she joined him later. He worked at Walmart, fast food restaurants, newspaper delivery, described as reliable, hardworking. 4 weeks before the unaliving, he was fired from Walmart following a disagreement with another employee. Shortly before the incident, Lee asked for time off from his delivery job to go to Winnipeg for a job interview. So this is, again, it's telling about him getting onto the Greyhound and him getting onto the bus. Okay. Man pleads not guilty in bus. Warning, graphic content. Neat. A psychiatrist says a man who did this to a fellow passenger on a Greyhound bus believed to hear the voice of God and telling him to do this. The voice told Vince Lee to get on the bus, sit next to Tim Mclean, and told Dr. Stanley. Yaron told Lee's second-degree murder trial Tuesday. A voice from God told him Mr. Mclean was a force of evil and was about to execute him. A witness for the Crown told the judge in the case. Okay. 40
Shauna,
believed
hold on, wait. Shauna was like, Canada has a Walmart?
We have more than one, too. We have more than one.
It's fucking hilarious. You guys have running water there?
Oh, one of the last times I was in the US, I was asked if I lived in Igloo. No, not recently. They melt during the summer.
Whatever. So when I came to college, I actually came to college with like a few of my friends. And we were kind of in the same class together. And one of my friends has like a really, I don't think it's a rare name, but it sounds Spanish as hell. I'll just give you the first name. It's like Eliana.
Eliana?
Yeah. And
that's a pretty
the
name.
teacher was trying to like, the professor, was trying to like say it. And she was like, finally my friend was like, oh, it's this. And she was like, oh, I just love it when like international students come and like into our town. You're like, I'm from Texas. Like, what the fuck? I'm Texas. Like, what the hell, bro? Anyway, sorry. I just need to tell you that.
Yeah, igloos in the winter and straw huts in the summer. Okay, so here we are. Let me see if I can get us. Okay. Forty believed that he had to act quickly to protect himself. In response to that, in a state panic and fearful for his life, he carried out the acts that he did. When Yaron diagnosed him as schizophrenic, believed the 22-year-old Mclean was still capable of coming back to life, so he continued to do the things he did and then scatter them around the bus. Although he admitted to guilt to the officers that night, he pled not guilty. His lawyers argued he is not criminally responsible because he's mentally ill. He did not understand he was doing this to an innocent bystander and did not understand the actions were wrong. And an agreed statement of fact read out in Winnipeg courtroom said, Lee's blood still smeared on the face from the attack, politely apologized to police when he was arrested and pleaded with the officers to take his life. He said, I'm sorry, I'm guilty. Please kill me. Okay, get down, Liz. let's see here. Yaron said Lee is still psychotic and believes it's just a matter of time before God unalives him. He continues to have hallucinations and hear voices, but is on strong antipsychotic medication. And Lee is as much a victim as Mclean. Well, isn't that interesting? It would be, in some sense, easier if Mr. Lee was an antisocial psychopath with history of malice behavior, but he is not that. He is, as I've come to know him, a decent person. He is as much a victim in this horrendous illness, as Mr. Mclean was a victim. Oh boy. The statement said Lee attacked Mclean for no apparent reason and ignored other horrified passengers as he attacked the young man.
Hold on.
Tim Mclean struggled to escape, but he could not because Lee was blocking the aisle. Okay.
Hold up. What is this that you're reading? Who's it from?
It is called Murderpedia.
So is this just like someone's like wording the way they put it, or are these?
It's got A to Z every.
Because there was something you said earlier about how they interviewed him, and Lee said he's like, "Yeah, I'm guilty of it."
Yeah, he did. Yeah, I did this. Kill me.
So this isn't like a transcript from like an interview from a police officer to a witness or anything. Like this is someone writing.
No, this is like going to Wikipedia or something, but this is strictly on this. And this here is outdated. It just is the most information that I could get.
Yeah.
In one, and it's accurate. It's just it hasn't got as far as him being released and
right, like all the new stuff that's happened, but
right, yeah.
These are actual quotes then from like if we're assumed to believe that these are actual quotes from
right.
He admitted he fucking did it. That it was wrong. Why did he?
Did. Yeah, no, he admits doing it, and I mean he pled guilty. Well, no, innocent by reason of insanity. And
you're still saying guilty,
but yeah,
because
guilty. Yeah,
you know,
yeah. No, guilty. Admitted he's guilty. Went to court and said he was guilty. Said everything he did. And then the psychiatrist got on there and explained why, in their minds, why all of this happened.
Well, that's
and
great, dandy. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna,
know
why this happened.
I mean, he's obviously schizophrenic. So I don't. It is a hard call. Like I can't say just this case, but all these cases where they get off because of a mental illness. I'd love to know what statistics of reoffending would be.
High.
Because it's scary.
Very high.
So he didn't have many friends, divorced in 2006 due to mental problems. And nobody has known him. This is the thing, he doesn't have a violent history.
That people know of.
I think by now, because it's been 15 years, if he was attached to anything else, we would have heard. But so Yaron said Lee was briefly hospitalized in 2003, 2004, after being picked up by the Ontario Provincial Police, the OPP, and found him walking along a highway following the sun as ordered by God.
This was before the murder?
Okay, then.
This was before the murder?
Oh, way before.
Oh,
yeah, way before. Yeah. Lee's former wife said he used to be gone for long periods of time, took unexplained bus trips, and sometimes rambled. He was hospitalized briefly, but never sought medical attention.
Isn't being hospitalized seeking medical attention?
Depends what you're there for, I suppose, right?
I guess you can just refuse the medication. But why be hospitalized to begin with? You have that reason to be hospitalized.
Well, people will go in. I mean, if they're having a mental slip, people. I mean, it's been
Yeah,
known
if
for
you're having
people
a
to
mental
go in
slip,
and
you're gonna get medicated with something.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't just go in and be like, hey, I need pills. Like, or like, hey, like I think I'm having a psychotic break, and then they evaluate you and you're just like, I mean, like, you're not having a psychotic break. Like, what the fuck? Like you just can't do that. So
Yeah.
like he obviously went in because he needed to go in, like, is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah. Yeah. It's oh my word. It would be this kind of case is a really good one to have a panel on.
Yeah.
You know, to have a good discussion, because what's right and what's wrong. I mean, it is so confusing.
Because I would love that.
I've told you a little bit about my.
Go ahead.
Hey?
No, go ahead.
Okay, we know about Whack Job Uncle, right? And all the things that he pulled. Well, he was not considered insane. Get that one.
A lot of serial killers aren't like insane either. So
no, well, this is it. This
Some
is
people
it.
just do
I mean, he
fucking
didn't
great,
do
like,
what this guy did, but
evil shit because they're evil, like, or they just do it because they do it. Like, I can't.
Don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this here is a picture of him younger. A little bit younger.
I like his eyebrows.
He's a good-looking kid.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
The bus.
That's got to be tough too for the parents. Like, my parents freak out like with me traveling, you know, like they freak out every day for being over here by myself. They're like, I haven't talked to you in like a whole day, and I'm like, I'm freaking here.
I'll let you know if I go outside. If I go outside, I'll get a hold of you.
But like when I travel, they like want to hear from me like on every step of the way. It's like, and they're at the airport like 3 hours early, like pick me up. I'm like, you guys are ridiculous. We just wanted to make sure you weren't gonna be late. And I'm like, you're freaking early. Like, hella early. They're ridiculous, my parents.
So yeah.
Yeah, my parents would freak out if I was taking like a Greyhound bus. If I called them tomorrow, I was like, hey, I'm gonna take a Greyhound bus to Texas. They'd be like, no. No, you're not. No.
Yeah. Oh, I was 18. I didn't tell anybody where I was going, and I went from one side to the other of Canada.
Girl,
And
you're wild. You're wild.
I was just gone.
Don't even leave a note. You're just like, deuces.
Just
going away for the
wild child. How come he's got a cast on his? So
I don't
yeah,
like
Tim
that this guy's
McLean.
out. I do not like that this guy is out. I don't think he should be out.
No. Hell no. He doesn't need to be out.
He needs to go back.
So I'll probably just add it to the community page, because I've got his interview here, which would be very interesting to go through, but we have been on here for well over an hour, so I'll probably an hour and a half. Go figure. So yeah, I'll probably put it onto the community wall on this channel. Yeah. Let's see here. Is there a video inside the bus the parents probably saw? I would imagine that there is pictures out there, just because it doesn't take too long for the underground to start coming up above ground. Look at that guy that was taking pictures of Nicola Bully getting pulled out of that river.
I've been meaning to watch Michelle Walks. Is that her name? Michelle Walks?
Michelle Walks, yeah.
Yeah,
And
'cause there was
Michelle,
one day she put a video out. She was like, I'm not gonna talk about Nicola Bully, I'm not gonna do it. And she's like, I did it.
I did it.
I did it. I'm talking about Nicola Bully. And I've been meaning to watch her videos because it looks like she's getting into some interesting things. And
as far as Nicola Bully goes?
Yeah, like what is did her autopsy come out yet? Like no, I know that's not
I have not seen that.
Like
yeah, no, I have not seen that yet. And yeah, I've been watching Michelle. I did see her today. She's debunking things, which is good.
Yeah.
Things like whether or not she could have actually floated down that far, if she could have gotten over that weir, and why, you know, the dog maybe didn't jump in after her. So yeah, she is still talking about it, but
like
there's a lot of people that still have a lot of questions.
The dog not jumping in after her, but like I was really curious about how the harness and the leash looked. And I haven't gotten like really clear clarification on how it was found.
Yeah,
because
it sounded like it was just kind of splayed out on that hill.
Like my dog Loki would do anything for me. He would, but he's not used to water, so I can't for sure say that if I fell into the water that he would, you know, jump in after me. Although I know that if I had a harness and a leash attached to his harness and I fell and I was holding on to that and somehow I pulled it off from him trying to like, you know, back up.
Yeah.
Is that how the leash and the harness were found? But the leash was apparently like bent.
I don't think I've actually seen a picture of that, to be honest with you. I don't think I've seen like an actual picture of.
I just don't, like, we've talked about this before. Like, I don't see a woman, like, if she did have some issues, was having a hard time, like, I don't think that she would take her animal with her to do whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
Do. Like, I don't think that she would take her animal with her. Like, that's just not.
And I agree with both you ladies. Like, it's all y'all. It is still sus. How did she get in there and not make any noise? Like, it's not like she would have just hit that water and been like, instantly goner.
Drown immediately.
She would have hit that water.
And apparently there was people walking.
No, you would have been
by,
hearing splashing and screaming and yeah. Oh my word.
I won't say that it's not an accident on Nicola Bully. I just want someone to tell me the scenario.
How it's possibly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That would happen. Like, just tell me the scenario and I'll be fine with it. Because I can't.
I agree.
It could be an accident. I don't think it's a suicide. I do not think it's a suicide. Could it be foul play? Sure, but I just don't
No.
see how any of that is really possible, but it could happen.
Mhm.
I just need someone to explain to me the scenario that you think that it would be an accident with. Like,
I
describe it.
can't see it being an accident.
Like,
My
just
head does
describe
not
it.
go there. It
'Cause
doesn't
I don't
go.
think she committed suicide. I just
Yeah.
don't think that happened. 'Cause
No, me
you
either.
wouldn't take your no. Like,
Well,
you wouldn't
and
take your
wouldn't
dog with you.
somebody
You wouldn't, like, you wouldn't make a play date, like
Well, and wouldn't have somebody seen you kind of floating down the river?
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't automatically sink. Wouldn't somebody, like, see you kinda, like I don't know, it's a strange, strange case.
Well, you'd be splashing around for a while in the same spot, maybe for what you would think for is eternity, but it's just a couple of seconds, maybe. But there's people that were in the area, right in the
This is it.
vicinity,
Yeah.
that they literally walked up on
This
the
is it.
bench, minutes, seconds, whatever whatever, after.
Yeah. Like, it
you didn't hear
wasn't
anything?
long.
You didn't hear anything? You didn't hear
No,
splashing?
you would think she would still have been splashing around. You know? And they said, "Well, maybe she was knocked out." Okay, but how did she get knocked out? It's another interesting one.
Well, once you get knocked
I
out,
have
you
been
lose
watching
momentum.
Michelle.
Once you get knocked out, it's like, let's pretend like you got hit in the back of the head and you got knocked out immediately. You lose momentum because you're dead weight. So
Right.
you just fall. It's not like you stumble forward and fall. Like, you just fall. Like,
Right.
if it was an accident
So
and she got lightheaded and like fell and then immediately got caught on something, I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, no. Well, I don't know if she was or not, Shauna. They're not really giving us any kind of information as far as what condition she was in. We don't know if there was anything in her lungs. We don't know if she has any bumps and bruises. So, yeah. And I don't know. Like, I mean, knocking. I've never been knocked out, but once you land like in a super, super cold river, wouldn't you kind of like regain consciousness?
Not necessarily.
No? Okay.
Not necessarily, no. I mean, it like everybody reacts different. Like, people are different, so not necessarily, no.
Okay. Okay. They had sonar and found nothing and went over the spillway in heavy winter clothing. Like, this is the thing, Dandy. That's another one. It's another one we're going to have to talk about. Hey. So did we learn anything, do you think, about this whack job tonight?
No, other than he should be still institutionalized.
Right?
Like,
Yeah. I mean, there is a person with this particular case. You got to be careful because it is so graphic that you have to miss a lot in order to kind of get the story out. You have to, improvise.
Like, we're willing to give. I'm not trying to say that I agree with this or disagree with this. I'm just saying that quick little thing, like, people's brains aren't actually all the way formed until about their 21, 22. We have a child who's a minor. We consider a minor in the US under 18. Some states are a little bit 1 or 2 years younger.
Okay.
We can say that they're
Okay.
guilty of murder, that they knew what they were doing. They're guilty of murder. Yes, we're sentencing, what? Sentencing, right?
Sentencing? What?
Them to life in
What?
prison. But we don't consider them crazy, or we don't consider them. But that's kind of what it is.
Mentally ill. Mhm.
Right, because like at that age, like you're still undeveloped. Your brain is
Mhm.
undeveloped. So wouldn't that be considered a undeveloped brain per se?
Yeah, about 25, I think it is. That I mean, at least for
Something like
males.
that. Yeah, I don't know.
when my son was-
It's still, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, still not cooked.
Yeah. So can you really say that what you know is right and wrong, and what you're doing is right and wrong?
Right.
Fucci, what's his name? Is it Adam Fucci? Aiden Fucci?
Yeah. Aiden, I think. Aiden Fucci.
Yeah. Minor stabbed someone 116 times and 116 times, 114 times.
Unreal.
The sister made
Unreal.
like I think one of the best impacts in that was she came up and like put little rocks in a jar. 106.
I've seen that.
Rocks in a jar.
And those little green, yeah.
Yeah.
Little
For as many
beads,
times
things,
as
yeah.
that little evil demon.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Stabbed her.
Yeah.
Like,
There are so many cases right now. Everything seems to be kind of happening at once. We've got stuff going on with Lori Daybell. We've got stuff going on with Keegan Kline coming up. We've got, well, even Nicola Bully is, it wouldn't hurt to even take another look.
Nicola Bully definitely
Who
needs
else
a
is?
look.
What's that?
Nicola Bully's case definitely needs another look. Like it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not an officer. Maybe they really did everything they could.
Ryan Koberger, there's still quite a bit.
Yes.
Stuff still coming out with Koberger. Stephen Smith, Letitia Stoke, is it?
Mine is in court
So
right
yeah,
now.
there's have they started? Or
Yeah.
are they still doing?
They're in court. I don't know what for what, but they're in court. There's images, and
I think they were looking. I think there was jury selection.
possibly.
I do believe. So yeah, that is one of Canada's bigger known cases. Is this one? We've got also, the Ken and Barbie is
Those are good. Oh, you also got
Carla Homolka,
cat killer.
Russell Williams. We got Picton.
What's that guy's name? The cat killer, the little kitten killer.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, we got Luca Magnolia.
Yes, he said that he was like involved with like
Yeah.
the Barbie. Yeah.
Yeah, that is relatively interesting, actually, with him.
You stop saying
Just
that
the
we're
way,
involved, we're not involved. I'm like, you're the one that's saying that you're involved. Like, what the fuck? This dude was crazy. This guy was crazy. Luca Magnotta.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Luca Magnotta. Did he plead guilty today, Shauna? Oh.
Well, they have.
Did I miss that?
That's what I've been saying, man.
Oh, no. He pled guilty today. I thought it was
Well, he should have pled
man.
guilty to whatever
That's good
charges
work.
he had. He was like guilty of them. They had him. For
Well,
them.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll have to
What
see if I
I'm
can dig
interested
that
in,
up.
what I'm interested in is if Keegan Klein is some sort of witness
Yes.
for Richard Allen.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah,
Or
exactly.
like either on the prosecutor side or the defense. Like, I just want to know, like, something's up with that. Like, it has to be, right?
I think so.
It has to be.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Another live. You guys are so awesome. Does everybody want do you guys mind if I give you your wrenches? I'll figure that out. I'll figure that out in my YouTube. But if I can add you guys again, that would be awesome. I got the best people that help me with this stuff ever. So, do you know what? I think, oh, thank you.
Oh, can I say something?
Absolutely.
If you guys haven't,
Yeah, please do.
if you guys haven't heard about Grant Solomon,
Oh, that's right.
Look up his case. There's like really great creators. I know Noor, the conspiracy girl with the tin hat. I love her.
Oh, I just love her.
Jasmine
Yeah.
Noor has put out a video on it. And
Okay.
so has Gray Hughes.
Bam.
Yeah. So if you guys want to look at him, go. He does great work. I love his like maps and just
thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
So but yeah, look up Grant Solomon because that's something I think that's gonna come up here soon.
Yeah, we'll pop over to this channel and maybe do something on him. And who's the other one? We were going to research and do on this channel.
We already did the research for it. We already did the research.
So yeah, we'll start. I'm a wench. So that was awesome.
Natalie
that was
Wood.
Awesome.
That's right. Is that who you want to do? Natalie Wood?
Yeah, Natalie Wood. Yeah. Yeah, Natalie Wood. I think what I'm going to try and do is all the cases that are not active, I'll do on this channel. And then the ones that are active, I'll continue with the think tank. And then I want to get Franky up and going. And it's going to be, I think I want to do a fluffy channel, you know, maybe look at some fancy houses and go on hikes and kind of, yeah.
Talk about the Kardashians.
Yeah, that's stuff. We'll just do different stuff on there that's, you know, a little bit of a break from reality.
Right, no kidding.
Oh, much love, friends. That was wicked. Oh, another Discord for this channel. Oh, I'm gonna need mods all over the place. Okay, guys, I think
Jesus. I'm like trying to think about how that would work. I'm like, oh my god. How
for the Franky one?
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be easy. But I'm more like thinking like you can put some of these on your Frankly, like rename some of these. Okay, whatever.
I'm lost. I'm lost. Okay.
I love you, purple.
It's your purple. You guys have a great night. I'll probably pop over to Discord for a second, and I'll get on to this channel and add you guys as mods when I get over to YouTube. Okay, guys. Thank you again. I hope you enjoyed it. Have a great night.
All of you, great. Cha 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 cha
cha cha cha cha. What am I doing?